Okay, welcome back to a very quick part 3 of lesson 8, just to finish up example number 8 here. So it says consider the graphs of the functions y equals, and that's all the transformations there, and also the cosine graph. Changing which of the parameters a, b, c, or d, so they're talking about these things here, a, b, c, and d, affect the domain, range, amplitude, period, and zeros. Okay, so domain is a horizontal thing, right? And typically the domain is all real numbers because for a trig function like sine or cos, it keeps going forever. So A, which is something, this would be like a vertical stretch, would not affect domain for sure. B is a horizontal stretch, and had the domain been anything else but element of the reals, the horizontal stretch would have affected it as well. So that one still doesn't. C is the horizontal translation or a phase shift left to right. And again, domain is element of the reals, so that shouldn't affect it. And D is a vertical up-down thing, so that's not going to affect it as well. So what would affect domain? Nothing, nada, none. Okay, range. Okay, so range is definitely, not element of the reals, it's between two values, right? So if we vertically stretch it, so if our parameter A changes, that will affect range. B, horizontal, that shouldn't affect it because horizontal versus a vertical thing. Okay, C, again, horizontal, shouldn't affect it. But D, moving the graph up or down, will affect the range. So A and D affect range. Amplitude is directly affected by what the A value would be. D, however, moving it up or down would not affect your amplitude because amplitude is simply half the total range. All right, so period. That is the length of one cycle horizontally. So if we vertical shouldn't affect it, and moving it up and down shouldn't affect it. But if we stretch it horizontally, that will affect our period. And think about how we calculate that, right? 2 pi over our b, so of course b will. And if we translate it left or right, that will not affect the length of our period. So it's just b in this case. All right, zeros or x-intercepts. Okay, so vertical stretch. That shouldn't affect our x-intercepts. Okay, horizontal stretch, definitely. So B affects it. Horizontal translation, yes, if we move it left or right, that'll change them as well. And then moving it up or down, you wouldn't think a vertical would affect the zeros, but it could. Let's say we have a graph like this, and I move the graph up. Okay, so then it looked like this. What do you notice? Now there's no x-intercepts. So guess what? D will affect the zeros as well. Okay, part B. State the max and min values of the function in terms of a, b, c, and d, if a is greater than 0. So let's think about our graph. Okay, this midline that runs through the middle of the graph, horizontal midline, is at d. Okay, a, related to our amplitude, absolute value of it, would be that distance there. So how do we get the max? The max would be the top here, and we'd find that by going d plus the absolute value of a. Or to get the min down here, we would go d minus the absolute value of a. So subtract that amount to get the minimum value. So there we go. Max, d plus the absolute value of a, and min, d minus the absolute value of a. Okay, so then part C, where they ask about the range is really the distance from min to max. So I would describe my range, since they're saying it's y, as being between the minimum value, d minus the absolute value of a, and less than your maximum value, d plus the absolute value of a. And there you go. That's how you find your range. D plus A, D minus A, there we go. All right, you should be ready for the assignment questions now, so good luck with that, and thanks for bearing with me through all these lessons. Good job, you guys.